I'm just standing there taking pictures in the museum. She walked up to me, obviously very angry. She said, I just got one thing to say to you. She said, I think it's a great God that can use evolution to get us here. She turned and walked off. I didn't get time to say this to her, so if you watch the tape, let me just mention something to you. I think it's a stupid God that has to use evolution. Doesn't he know what he wants? Can't he make it right first time? He's got to practice, got to play around, a bunch of dead ends, evolutionary misfits. Your God's retarded. You need to get a smart one like I got, who does it right first time. That's the kind of God you ought to be worshiping. Anyway. All right. Here we are brainwashing a whole generation, kids by the thousands, in your school district right here. I mean, tomorrow, they're going to be brainwashed at your expense. Right? Satan is using all sorts of groups to bring his new world order into play. Now, we could go for months on each of these, and there's plenty of good books on the table back there from the Prophecy Club. You've had lots of people speak on these topics. Okay? The United Nations. Satan is running that group. Now, most of them don't even know it. Probably a lot of them in there are nice people. But they're working for the devil and don't even know it. The Council of Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Internet. I read lots on this. I read about Gary Kah, excellent book, En Route to Global Occupation. I've read Tex Mars, been on his program. The excellent material, no question. There's a lot of conspiracies out there. But I want to show you from a different side here tonight what we should do. The World Council of Churches is very involved in bringing a new world order. The Masonic Lodge, probably one of the key players. Now, the average guy in the Masons doesn't know what he's in. He thinks he does. But there's a secret club inside that secret club. They use that as their recruiting grounds because they know they have to keep quiet. They've taken all these oaths, you know. Yank my liver out and beat me on the head with it. Right? Tie me down by the lowest tide, you know, onto a stake and cut my guts open and let the birds come eat me off the stake. Dumb oaths they take. Any Christian ought to get out of that group. But you can get in the Masonic Lodge and get clear up to 32nd degree and not know what you're in. You'll think it's a do-gooders club. And they do a lot of good for the community. I don't argue with that. But when you get to 33rd degree, you start to find out, wow, this is a satanic organization. Oh, sure is. All this time we've been talking about God, they're talking about Lucifer as God. Albert Pike ought to know. He was the leader of the entire Masonic Lodge. I mean, the world leader. He said, the Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates of the highest degrees, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. He was 33rd degree Mason, just like Bob Dole and Kemp. Masonic Lodge? Now look, I've got good friends that are in it. And I love you, and God loves you, and you're not my enemy. And I know you think you're in a do-gooders club, but you have been deceived. You're working for the devil and don't even know it. Get out of that. Jesus said, I've done nothing in secret. Why do they do all these secret meetings, secret handshake? You know, grab the second knuckle and stand just right and, you know, do all these secret motions to let them know, hey, I'm a Mason. Why? Jesus didn't do anything in secret. Did it openly. I think we need to come out from among them, be separate, saith the Lord. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. On the back of your dollar bill, there's an interesting symbol. You ever seen that before? You know what that says in Latin? Annuit queptis norbis ordo secularum, announcing the birth of the new world order without God. That's what it says. You got to read Terry Cook's book. You've got it back there, don't you? Borrowed on the table? His new one, right? It's about gay thick. About the all-seeing eye and what it means and how it all ties in with the new world order. Ooh, Terry Cook got some great stuff on this. And I know all this stuff. I don't know it all, but I know a lot of it. I read a lot of it. But there's more to the picture that we're not seeing, I'm afraid. This pyramid's a fascinating building. We could go for a couple of days on this subject. You know, it's got 13 rows of stones representing the 13 blue lodges of the Masonic Lodge. You know, there's 32 feathers on the bird, 32nd degree Mason. 13 arrows, 13 berries, 13 stars. It's not because of the 13 colonies. Because of the Masonic Lodge. That's the purpose. By the way, the all-seeing eye represents Lucifer, the light-bearer, the enlightened one. Notice it's not touching the pyramid. There's a gap in between, isn't there? Well, that's on purpose because Lucifer's not in charge of the world yet. He hasn't established his new world order. He's close. And in 1935, they put that on the dollar bill. I don't know, but I just wonder if maybe 1935 was the year the Antichrist was born. He'd be about the right age to be a world ruler now, wouldn't he? Just a guess. But why 1935? Interesting. By the way, They chose the pyramid, I think, because probably the pyramid was God's symbol originally. So I couldn't prove this, but I have a strong hunch that possibly when God first made Adam and Eve, of course, they didn't have a Bible. So God gave them the whole gospel story in the stars, the zodiac constellations. Tremendous story in the zodiac. You ought to read the book on the back table about the zodiac. Tremendous. Of course, today it's all perverted into the horoscope and all that, but it used to be the gospel plan. Start off with Virgo the Virgin, and you end with Leo the Lion. The Virgin brings forth the Son. He becomes the judge. The balance is in the hand and all that. It all ties in with Christianity. But then after the flood, the canopy of water was gone that used to protect them. We covered that on videotape number 1. And so they couldn't see the stars quite as well. And God gave them a new Bible in stone, the Great Pyramid. I don't know about this. I just think maybe the Great Pyramid was built probably to be a testimony to the Lord. It might have been built by Noah and Shem after the flood. I don't know. But I think it's interesting, the Great Pyramid had originally 144,000 smooth, polished casing stones. You know, the Great Pyramid is 90 times the volume of the Sears Tower. By far the largest building in the world in volume. There's enough brick or stone in that one building to build a 10-foot high brick wall all the way around France. It's a big building. If you walked into the door to the Great Pyramid, you would go down the broad way that leads down to the pit, or take the narrow way that goes up to the King's Chamber. Oh, the broad way and the narrow way. I read about that someplace. If you go up the narrow way, you end up on the 50th row of stones. 50, the year of Jubilee. There on the 50th row of stones is an empty tomb. In the tomb is a red granite coffin, the exact dimensions of the Ark of the Covenant. Interesting. No body in there. By the way, the top of the pyramid was never put in place. The chief cornerstone was rejected by the builders. Jesus Christ is the chief cornerstone. He's the stone cut out of the mountain without hands in the book of Daniel to smote the image on the feet. He's the stone of stumbling and the rock of offense. By the way, has 5 sides, the number of grace on that chief cornerstone. Building was never finished. Well, Satan thinks he's going to come finish the work. He's going to take over and establish his new world order. Well, yeah, he is for a little while, but God's going to wipe it out. We got nothing to worry about. Satan's got all his plans. Look, I've read lots of the stuff on the New Age movement, the New World Order. I read lots on this, okay? I understand what's going on, a little bit. But if that's all you read, you're going to be a nervous wreck. Right? I mean, you hear about, and I know about the black helicopters. I've seen them. I've got pictures on the table of some of the Soviet military equipment being brought into Gulf Shores, Mississippi. The Soviet biological warfare cleanup trucks. We need biological warfare cleanup trucks. I know about the 500,000 foreign troops in America. And I know about the biodiversity treaty, you know, that gave away a bunch of our national parks to the United Nations. And I know about some of the plan, you know, they have to take over the world. And folks, look, we are in serious trouble. But if you get all nervous about the New World Order, you need to read Psalms chapter 2. It'll calm you right down. Psalms chapter 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast off their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. Hey, God's up in heaven laughing about this New World Order. What are we getting all nervous about? Huh? God's laughing at them. You idiot. He's busting a gut, man. This is hilarious. Look at these guys. They think they're going to rule the world. I'll show them. What should we do? Well,